Hello and welcome to your Daily 5 for the 2nd of August. My name is Julius de Kempenaer and I am presenting to you from Amsterdam in the Netherlands, hosting today's episode of Your Daily 5. I am a senior analyst here at StockCharts.com and the creator of relative rotation graphs. And of course, they play a crucial part in my approach to pick 5 interesting stocks for you. You can find my contributions in the RRG blog on the site, as well as on StockCharts television, where I host Sector Spotlight every Tuesday from 10:30 to 11 a.m. Eastern. Let's get started with your Daily 5. It is no surprise that I usually, most of the time, almost always, start my search for sectors or stock or investment possibilities with a relative rotation graph. And it occurred to me that it had been a while since I looked at the rotations within the Dow Jones Industrials average, within the 30 Dow stocks. They always make a very interesting universe because they're the 30 biggest stocks in the US. They matter. The Dow 30 stocks matter. And I hadn't looked at them too much recently. So I want to use it for this occasion of your Daily 5. And if I start looking at this relative rotation graph, I use the weekly RRG mostly because I don't want to record a show using very short-term data, short-term outlooks, and then by the time it's aired, everything is old and doesn't matter anymore. So I try to look for a little bit more substantial trends. If we go to the RRG of the Dow 30 stocks, and you know that one is available as one of the groups in the drop-down box, this is the image that we get. And what I noticed is that there is very little activity inside the leading quadrant. It's Visa, McDonald's, and United Health. Those are the only three that are inside leading. McDonald's already coming down a little bit. Visa, if you look closely, you can see that it already moved lower last week, so that is not the best entry level. UNH is undoubtedly a very good stock, but what I try to do for this episode is try to find stocks with good possibility that still have some distance to travel in terms of relative strength and potentially price. So I was looking for candidates inside the improving quadrant and maybe inside weakening and lagging, because you know that I also very often like to look at stocks that you may want to avoid. I do think there is not enough attention among investors for stuff where you should not be invested. I think that is as important, maybe even more important, as to figure out where you want to be invested. Anyway, so I'm going to give you 3 buying candidates and 3 potential selling candidates, or 2 selling candidates. Maybe I should say 3 opportunities to the upside and 2 opportunities to the downside. And you know that you can, when you highlight a line in the table, you can toggle over all the candidates inside the Dow 30 and quickly analyze the tails and their potential impact and their potential further trajectory. What I also look for is for stocks for tails that are at a strong RRG heading. And a strong RRG heading is when they are moving in a direction between 0 and 90 degrees. So from the previous observation to the current, that must be pointing towards that top right-hand corner. Now, without going over all of them and discussing all of them, I've highlighted the 5 names that I want to discuss with you in this RRG. And the ones that I think are better avoided are Intel, INTC, inside the lagging quadrant and pushing further into it. And JP Morgan, which is inside the improving quadrant, but rolled over and is now starting to accelerate lower back to the lagging quadrant. And that leaves us with the buying candidates, the good stuff, which is Cisco, which is at a good heading and just entered the leading quadrant. It's Nike, which is at a strong heading. It's almost 45 degrees, which is the best that you can get. And that is Microsoft, which is also at a good heading and very close to crossing over into the leading quadrant. If we go over the individual charts, because you know that the individual charts eventually give you the best picture. So let's start with the ones that are better avoided. Intel, if I look at the chart, it is breaking a very important support level. And in combination with that break of a strong support in relative strength, that creates the tail pushing Intel further into the lagging quadrant. I think that's a stock that is better avoided at the moment. I don't see a lot of upside for Intel. The second one is JP Morgan. JP Morgan is resting at a support area. That's the positive news. But this downtrend is fully intact. That's a very serious series of lower highs and lower lows. And what worries me from a relative perspective is the very recent break below its previous low in terms of relative strength and the turnaround that we see in the RRG lines. That is causing the tail for JP Morgan to roll over and point towards the lagging quadrant. So I prefer to avoid JP Morgan for the time being. So where can we find some upside potential? I think Cisco is a good candidate. It found support around 41, and it looks as if we're building this double bottom pattern here. So I'm watching a break above 46 US dollars in price. And if that happens without breaking that previous low in relative strength, it will eventually pull these RRG lines further up and push Cisco towards and into the leading quadrant. So Cisco, I think, especially when it takes out 46 resistance, could have some good upside potential. The second stock that I think has good potential is Microsoft. Kind of similar to Cisco. I think Microsoft is a little bit further ahead in the game. And you can see that Microsoft is coming out of this base pattern, out of this kind of double, triple bottom, taking out resistance here. And it's solidly holding above that former resistance, now acting as support in terms of relative strength. And it's pulling the RRG lines up. So if we can hold, let's say, above 270 for Microsoft, I think that there is a little bit more upside to go for this stock. And then finally, the last one is Nike. And you can see that the tail of Nike is traveling at a strong RRG heading. And we are in the process of building a bottom here as well. But what I like about it is that it is happening at a long-term support level. This level around 100, just above 100, was a serious resistance level at the start of 2020, and it's now coming back as support. Assuming that this is going to hold, assuming that relative strength is going to find support at current levels, I think that Nike can move further up. First, inside this trading range towards 125, and if we can take out 125, then obviously there is much more upside potential, let's say towards 140 with relative strength further improving. Those are my 5 picks. I hope you enjoyed the show, and I'm looking forward to see you again at a new episode of Your Daily 5 in the future.
Hey guys, Dave Keller here with StockCharts.com. Thanks so much for watching our video. If you enjoyed it, and we hope you did, hit the like button right below. Also, we have so much new content every day. Consider subscribing to the channel. Just hit the subscribe button in the video or right below. Thanks for watching. Stay safe. Have a fantastic day.